Hi, welcome to the channel, Budget Audio Review and Upgrades. Today I've had to come downstairs because I've literally run out of room in my little computer room where I do all my repairs and videos normally. I've had a few different items come in, some good and some complete rubbish, someone gives to me. That I'll never say no to anything, but you know, this time this one I'm going to have to try and take down the skip, but it's took up all the room, that's the problem. Today I'm reviewing this Pioneer SX440 receiver, and this was made about 50 years ago, in 1970, round about then, in Japan. I'm going to be comparing it against this Sansui 331. I thought it was going to be a reasonable, fair comparison, even though this was made a few years later, I think in about 76, 78, somewhere around there, off the top of my head. This is about 10 watts a channel, I think, something like that, maybe 12, somewhere around there. And this is definitely 12 watts a channel. I've just looked it up to make sure. So I think it's going to be a fair comparison, really. What I do like about this is this front. But before I do that, I'll just quickly show you inside. This is, I'm doing it very quick. This is inside, this is underneath, and this is the back. And as you can see, for a 50-year-old receiver, I haven't touched it or anything, in really, really good condition. This little thing here plugs into the back. If you rewind and see that picture, this plugs into your speaker terminals at the back. It's kind of like a little plug. Make sure if you buy this, you get at least 2 of these so you can set up one set of speakers, because on eBay these go for about £25, $25 for a spare set. Like anything vintage, spare parts can sometimes command quite a premium, especially if there's not a lot of them about and you're stuck for something that can't be replaced. You can be paying fortunes. I mean, some of these knobs, £10, £15 each, just for the plastic bit on the outside. Okay. I do like the look of this receiver. This looks like late 60s, 70s kind of receiver when it was made. It really, really does look the part. I'm going to turn it on, and you know, if you had this as is, you know, set up in your living room or wherever, you know, people at a glance would think this is just an amplifier. You know what I mean? Then that's it. But as soon as you turn it on, the old backlight comes on. As you can see, there's the receiver part, the tuner part. This is not quite uniform. This is because probably these are the original bulbs and they could do with replacing. And anyway, if we turn this one on, just to give you a comparison, this one's got quite a long display. This one a bit shorter, but it's still nice, you know what I mean? It's a little bit more in between stations, not much of a gap, but it's still nice. It looks nice, you know what I mean? It's, you know, don't let it put you off. Quite a nice looking little meter there. Very small compared with some of these signal meters, very, very tiny meters then. Obviously they got bigger over time, I suppose, but still does its job, you know what I mean, bringing in the signal. What I will say is the radio, when it was working, because it did cut out here and there, this radio, when it was working sounded fine, you know what I mean, it sounded really nice, the radio. So the receiver part's pretty good on this, I would have said. Just on this one, it's kind of like, I think, on its way out now. So I'm going to have to, at some stage, have a look at that and see if I can repair it or see what's wrong with it. I'm not great with the actual tuner part, I don't think, but we'll give it a go and see what happens. If it don't work, then it don't, and I'll just have to keep the amplifier part. Okay, so I'm going to do a comparison, like I say, with this 331, give you an idea how it sounds. 2 different sounds here, really, you know, quite a difference apart, I suppose, in sound wise, but still sounding both like, you know, good receivers, like, you know what I mean. I could quite easily listen to either one of them. We'll get into that in a minute anyway. When you use these receivers and whatever, these low wattage ones, these 8, 10, 12 watt ones, get yourself a spare of speakers at a minimum of 89 dB. I would have said I've got quite a lot seem to be in that 89 dB if you're buying something maybe just 20 years old or something. If you go quite a few years older, you can get some like higher decibel, sensitivity ones, 9500. I think they'd probably still do a few here and there, but they seem to be a bit sparse. These are Celestial Ditton 3s I've got here. These are only 86. This is I've been trying these out with a few other amplifiers and receivers. I will do a review of them. I'm not quite finished, just got a couple more things I want to do. But I'll do a review of them probably after this video, in a day or two's time. But yeah, so get yourself, so you get the volume. Depending what kind of room if you've got it in a fairly big room, you want to get some oomph out of it, so to speak. If you just got it in a little bedroom, then it's probably not not so much to worry about. You can go down as 86, and these work fine in a little room. It just means you're going to turn the volume up a little bit more. That's all. But it's just if you want to fill up a really big room. Get yourself a nice sensitive pair of speakers. Okay, I'm going to start off the phono stage on here sounded really nice. It's a really nice sounding phono stage. Played quite a few bits of vinyl on both my turntables, and they both sounded really nice. You know what I mean? I was quite impressed by the you know, very nice detail, nice sound to it. So that's fine. Actually, the overall sound now, and I plug in a CD, and you know, the overall sound really of this amplifier now. Is the first thing you notice, it's got quite a oomph to the bass. The bass is quite, you know, quite, I wouldn't say it's not overpowering the bass, but it's got quite a bit of guts to it, the bass on here, you know what I mean? It's not going to let you down bass wise on here, and it's, you know, it's controlled, it's nice, it's not woolly or anything like that, it's quite tight. It's not as detailed as the bass on here, on this 331, but it's got a bit more oomph to it, and I'll put down it's got more clout. The bass on here has more clout than it does on this 331. It is noticed, you know, it's noticeable kind of more clout to it. Bass sounds nice on here, don't get me wrong. It's nice, it's detailed, the bass. This is not quite as detailed, but it's got more clout to it. Vocal wise on here, the vocals sounded nice. Now, I do look at anything I review, I do look at other reviews to see what other people thought, and if I think they're wrong, you know, I don't agree with it, I'll mention it, which I have done on, I think, a few different items, and maybe more speaker wise, I've said, no, I don't agree with that, I thought it didn't sound as good as they said, or whatever, these rave reviews and everything. So I will mention that, but people say this sounds like a valve amplifier. Just thought I'd mention it, this sounds like a valve amplifier. As close as you could get, you know, those coming from valves back then in the late 60s, I suppose, or early 60s, but late 60s, doing away with the valves and going into transistor, and they try to make this as possibly, you know, as close to the valve sound as they could. Now, I haven't got a valve amplifier, I must get one, I will get one at some stage, to kind of compare the two, you know, how they sound valve to transistor. So I can't say that, but I just thought I'd mention it just in case you're not going to bother looking elsewhere for reviews or anything. But obviously well worth doing if you're going to buy something, find as many reviews as possible. Is that this sounded very valvey sound to it. What I will say, people say it sounded a warm sound, and I think, you know, that definitely is the case. It sounded warm, it sounded really nice. Like I say, the vocals sounded, they sounded smooth, they sounded focused, they sounded really, really nice, you know, male and female, you know. For what it is, a low wattage, you know, bottom of the range receiver, this, you know, quite a lot's gone into the sound of this, I think. You know, it's a different sound to this. It's not quite as detailed in places, but it sounded really nice, the vocals. It's got quite an open sound to it, not quite as open as this, you know, not quite as spacious as this as well, but it's still got a nice sound to this, you know, it's quite spacious and open. People say this is like a sound you could listen to all day long. And you know, in some amplifiers and receivers, you can listen to it for a while, you can get quite a kick out of it, and after 2 or 3 hours you think, oh man, it's getting a bit on my nerves now, getting on my ear holes, you know, getting enough kind of thing, give me a little bit of an headache maybe, something like that. I could listen to this all day long. This is another one where the sound was so smooth and nice that you could listen to it, you know, there's nothing going to get on your nerves about it, you know what I mean. The sound sounded really nice. You know, the treble here, the IR ends sounded nice. They weren't quite as detailed as this 331. The IR ends, when I say detailed, I'm listening to like little shimmering sounds, using the old brushes on the on cymbals and that, listening to that little very fine detail of the brush, where you could actually pick up each brush touching the cymbal, so to speak, where you could on here, and it weren't so apparent on here. But other than that, you know, that bass, like I say, a nice sounding, warm sounding, round sounding kind of bass, kind of got you, you know what I mean, it got you in the mood, it kind of got you up to it, so to speak. And you know, all in all, you know, as you're probably going to gather now, I did like this receiver, you know what I mean. If you're thinking about buying this, I ain't going to put you off of it whatsoever. If you're thinking of getting this, and these, like say, go for about $80, £100 in the UK, maybe something like that, because in America seem to go a bit cheaper for some reason, well worth getting. You're getting a good receiver here for the money, you're getting quite a bargain, I think. If you want a bit more detailed, a bit more sweeter sound, you know, this is probably the one to go for out of the two, depending on what kind of sound, but you're not going to be disappointed with either of these receivers. You're not going to be disappointed, seriously, you're not going to be disappointed. I liked them both, kind of got their own unique kind of thing, I suppose, a unique look as well. Yeah, so that's it. It's not going to be, like I say, a massive review here. I think I pretty much said everything I wanted to say of this. Yeah, that's it, it's all written down. I didn't really write a lot down. I was kind of impressed straight away. As soon as I turned it on, I thought this sounds nice, you know what I mean. This is a nice little receiver. So, and it can go quite loud. I've got a video of this with the 330, no sorry, the 300, SX300. That was another nice sounding receiver as well, a low wattage one. Showing how loud they can actually go, and in that video I'm afraid that the camera is what I'm using to pick up the sound, and the microphones on there's got an automatic level control, so as I actually turned the volume up, it stayed pretty much the same on the camera because it kind of brought it down on the camera. So that's the only drawback with that video, but you would get an idea how loud it is. I mean, it filled this room up easy, like, you know, I mean, admittedly it was on about number 4 or 5, I think, something like that, but it had plenty of power behind it. Got plenty of guts, you know what I mean? It's got plenty of guts. Feels like it's got, you know, it's got plenty in reserve still for that 12 watts. So yeah, all in all, quite an impressive. You know, I was quite impressed by this Pioneer SX440. Okay, next video, like I say, I'll probably come up with Celestial Ditton, Celestians. Freeze, I think I was going to call them Celestial Ditton 15s then, but the Celestial Freeze, they're giving my opinion on them speakers, and I've got a few other bits coming up very shortly as well. So until the next video, I'll say thanks for watching, and I'll see you all soon.